March 15th, 2022. Ninoy Aquino International Airport. 22 Ukrainian students walked through the arrival gates, and Professor Elena Cruz felt her stomach drop. Something was wrong. She'd coordinated refugee arrivals before. Syrian families, Afghan scholars, Rohingya children. She knew what trauma looked like. But these students moved like ghosts. No relief in their eyes, no gratitude, just emptiness. And one girl in the back wouldn't stop staring at a boy in front. Not with affection, with pure, cold hatred. Elena forced a smile and held up her welcome sign. Mabuhay! Welcome to the Philippines! Only 3 students looked at her. The rest stared at the floor. This was going to be complicated. The students were housed in Santo Tomas University dorms. As Elena helped them settle in, she noticed something strange. They weren't talking to each other. At all. In the van, complete silence. In the hallway, they walked in a single file line with meters between each person. When she showed them the cafeteria, they sat at separate tables. "Ma'am Elena," whispered Sister Maria, the dorm manager, "is this normal for refugees?" "No," Elena admitted. "Usually they cling to each other. They're all they have left." That night, Elena reviewed their files again. 22 students from the same university in Kyiv, applied together for emergency evacuation, traveled together, should be bonded by shared trauma, but they acted like strangers, or worse, like enemies. At 2 a.m., screaming erupted from the 3rd floor. Elena and security rushed upstairs to find students crowding the hallway. Inside room 304, a girl named Oksana stood in the corner, shaking, while another student, Dmitro, pounded on the door from outside. "Let me in! Oksana! Let me explain!" "Get away from me!" Oksana screamed. "Sinungaling ka! You're a liar!" Elena pushed through. "What's happening?" "Ask him!" Oksana pointed at Dmitro, her finger trembling. "Ask him what he did. Ask him why Yuri didn't make it on the plane." The hallway went dead silent. Dmitro's face crumbled. "It wasn't my fault. There were only 22 seats. There were 23 of us!" A voice shouted from the crowd. A small girl named Yulia stepped forward, tears streaming. "Yuri was supposed to come, but someone told the embassy he was a security risk. Someone lied about him. And now he's dead," Oksana whispered. "The Russians bombed our university 2 days after we left. Yuri was still there because of you." Elena's blood ran cold. This wasn't just trauma. This was guilt, betrayal, and rage compressed into 22 people, forced to live together. "Everyone to bed, now," Elena commanded. "We'll talk tomorrow." But she knew sleep wouldn't come, not for any of them. Elena called an emergency meeting with Sister Maria and campus counselor Dr. Ramon Santos. "We need to know what really happened before they got here," Elena said. "These kids are sitting on a bomb." Dr. Santos pulled up the original evacuation list. Here, 23 names initially. Yuri Kovalenko was number 23. But look, 3 days before departure, someone filed a report claiming Yuri had extremist sympathies. The embassy removed him from the list. Who filed it? Anonymous tip, submitted through the Ukrainian student group's email. Sister Maria gasped. "Someone in that group betrayed him?" "Which means," Elena said slowly, "one of those 22 students killed Yuri. Maybe not with their hands, but with their words. And now they were all trapped together, 7,000 miles from home, with nowhere to run from the truth." Elena gathered all 22 students in the chapel. They sat scattered, refusing to look at each other. "I know what happened," Elena said quietly. "I know about Yuri." The temperature in the room dropped. "Someone here filed a false report. Someone here lied to save themselves." Elena's voice hardened. "And I want to know who." Silence. Then Katya, a girl with short blonde hair, stood up. "It was me." Gasps echoed through the chapel. Oksana lunged forward, but Miguel, the Filipino nursing student who'd been observing from the corner, stepped between them. "Easy, easy," Miguel said gently. Katya was crying. "There were 23 of us and only 22 seats on the embassy transport. They said we had to decide who stayed. We couldn't agree. We argued for 2 days. Then the coordinator said if we didn't choose, none of us would go." So you lied about Yuri? Oksana spat. No, I told them Yuri said he wanted to stay, that he wanted to fight. Katya's voice broke. But I didn't think they'd actually leave him. I thought they'd just put him on another transport. I didn't know. You didn't care, Dimitro shouted. You were afraid, so you threw him to the wolves. And what about you? Yulia screamed at Dimitro. You agreed with her. You said, yes, Yuri wants to stay. You confirmed her lie. The room erupted. Accusations flew. Students shouted over each other. Years of friendship shattered by one impossible choice. Elena stood frozen. Tahimik, Lola Carmen said softly. Silence fell. There was something about the old woman's presence that commanded respect. I will tell you a story, she said. 1945. I was 15 years old. Japanese soldiers came to our village. They said we were harboring guerrilla fighters. They said if we didn't give them names, they would kill everyone. The students stared at her. We had 1 hour to decide. The village gathered. We argued. We cried. And then someone spoke. They gave names. 3 young men. The soldiers took them away and shot them in the field. Lola Carmen's eyes were wet, but her voice was steady. For 60 years, I thought the person who spoke was a traitor, the worst human being alive. I hated them. We all did. What changed? Oksana whispered. I learned something. Lola Carmen smiled sadly. The person who gave those names? It was one of the 3 men who died. He volunteered himself and 2 others who had no families. He saved 40 people, including my mother, my siblings, me. She looked at each student. Sometimes there are no good choices, only impossible ones, and the people who make them carry the weight forever, Katya sobbed. But I didn't volunteer. I pushed someone else. I know, Anak, and you will live with that. But the question is not, can you be forgiven? The question is, can you forgive yourself enough to survive? To honor Yuri by living well? The chapel was silent except for crying. Then Oksana stood, walked to Katya, and did something no one expected. She hugged her. I hate what you did, Oksana whispered. But I don't hate you, because any of us could have done the same. We were all terrified. One by one, the students rose. They didn't all hug, they didn't all forgive, but they acknowledged each other. They saw each other, and slowly, painfully, they began to heal. The video went viral not because of drama, but because of what came after. The 22 students created a scholarship fund in Yuri's name. They raised $50,000 in donations, enough to bring 5 more Ukrainian refugees to the Philippines. They started a support group for survivors dealing with impossible choices during war. Filipinos joined, people who'd fled Marcos, fled Mindanao violence, fled Yolanda's destruction. They shared stories. They cried together. They forgave together. Katya wrote a letter to Yuri's mother in Ukraine. She didn't make excuses. She just told the truth and said she was sorry. 3 weeks later, she got a reply. I don't forgive you yet. Maybe I never will. But I know my son would want you to live. So please live well for him. Miguel and Oksana fell in love. Dimitro became a counselor for refugee trauma. Yulia started painting, portraits of the 22 students plus 1 empty chair for Yuri. And Lola Carmen? She kept feeding them, listening to them, reminding them that healing wasn't about forgetting. It was about carrying the weight together. A year later, CNN interviewed Elena about the 22 Ukrainian students whose story touched the world. What made their story so special? The reporter asked. Elena thought carefully. Because it wasn't a fairy tale. We want refugee stories to be simple. Good people escaping bad situations. But real life is messy. These students came here broken, not just by war, but by what they'd done to survive. And the Philippines didn't offer them pity. We offered them space to be human, to be flawed, to heal anyway. And what did they teach you? Elena smiled. That the most powerful thing you can offer someone isn't rescue. It's the chance to forgive themselves. That's when real healing begins. In a small apartment in Kyiv, now liberated and rebuilding, a woman placed flowers on her son Yuri's grave. Beside the headstone was a new plaque, funded by anonymous donors from the Philippines. Yuri Kovalenko, beloved son, friend, dreamer, his sacrifice saved 22 lives. His memory inspired thousands he has not forgotten. And beneath it, in Tagalog and Ukrainian, walang iwanan, ніхто не залишиться позаду, leave no one behind, no one is left behind. The 22 students had learned something profound. You can't change the past, but you can choose what you do with the weight of it. And sometimes that choice touches the entire world.